for joining us this evening. We are going to convene the meeting and start, as we always do, with Chaplain Grubbs.
Chaplain, take a moment. Oh Lord, hear our prayer. We're open to your love, the very breath of life. We're open to your grace, the very water of life, sufficient for our deepest needs. Upon each breath we take, our prayers are spoken and unspoken, and broken to you, our hearts and minds. This evening, like so many of our October days and nights, holds a special beauty. Sunrise and sunset give light to seasons of change. Our trees slowly shed their greenery, some with bursts of color beyond compare, losing the provision of shade, yet standing strong and sturdy in all of their losses. So much that grows begins to close up and prepare for the silence of winter. Yet even so, ours is also a season of fall planting, of celebrating our harvest of blessings for our living. May we look and see, all is woven into our living, our service and our work at hospital, as we ourselves change and grow, plan and plant, and celebrate for the future of our work. It is in your life-giving spirit, woven into all that we do, that we bow and trust, open to your love, the very breath of life, open to your grace, the very water of life. We pray. Amen.
Thank you. Everyone has the agenda in front of them. I was informed there was one small change to the agenda as far as we had an item that had been referred to the consent calendar that we had on the regular. It's been moved. It was an item that Mr. Joe Winnick is in charge of, so if anyone does have any questions or brought any, he's here and can answer them. But it is on the consent calendar now. I didn't see any new faces here today, but I welcome everybody here for joining us tonight. And I don't believe we have any special presentations, so we'll move right to reviewing the minutes from September's meeting. You have those in front of you. If everyone's reviewed them sufficiently, we'll entertain a motion to put those in the permanent record.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes from September? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining on that? Thank you very much. With that, we'll move on to committee reports. Mr. Haas, did Budget and Finance meet this month?
Yes, we did meet, and we reviewed the quarterly financial statements, which we're happy to say were very positive for the hospital. And we have a couple of resolutions here that will be brought up and discussed later.
Okay. With a couple more quarters like that, we'll have to start knocking on wood, just to make sure. That's a good
Going to
streak.
the hard quarters now.
Yeah, into the hard quarters. Dr. Kern, did joint conference meet?
Yes, sir, we did, Mr. Chairman. We met and routine business. We do have a special presentation for the closed session.
Okay, thanks so much. Mr. Wilson, did Planning Committee meet?
Planning Committee met, and we have a resolution on the consent calendar.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Griffin, did Audit and Compliance?
Yes, we met on Monday.
Any
Nothing to report.
other report? No motion. Mr. Webb, the Legal Committee?
We did meet, and there's a resolution as well.
Okay, thank you so much. And Mrs. Stanley, did MBEC meet this month?
Not this one.
Okay, thank you. And the Executive Committee did have our meeting, nothing to report other than what you'll see in the CEO's report. One unfinished piece of business here, we do this every year, and I'm going to read this because it's legal stuff, and Jeff knows I sometimes leave words out, so I read these things. Pursuant to Article 4, Section 2B of our bylaws of the Board of Trustees, the Board is authorized and obligated to elect from among its members a chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary of the authority for the upcoming calendar year. In that regard, I'm going to ask Mr. Mike Griven to assist in the process by compiling a slate of candidates for each position, and would further ask that he submit such a slate for the entire board's consideration at its annual meeting, which will be next month on the 17th. To ensure that the board has adequate time to consider the same, a listing of the candidates for each position will be forwarded to the board prior to that meeting. Please note that the board will also accept any nominations from the floor on the night of the 17th meeting. So you'll probably be hearing or maybe seeing some email or phone calls from Mike about that process, but we'll be doing that in the next month, and we'll discuss and vote on it at next month's meeting. With that, we will move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar, as you see before you, has one resolution on it, and if acceptable, we'll entertain a motion for that.
I move. Second.
Have a move. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the consent calendar? Aye. Any opposing or abstaining on that one? All right, thank you. With that, that motion passes. We will now move on to Mr. Tabor with Resolution 16-1002, approving the execution of ground lease and space lease between Chattanooga-Hamilton County and Chat East 3 LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is a lease of space that we've been planning for quite some time. Very excited to bring to the board. It is a new professional office building that's being built by a developer that currently owns our other office buildings out there. And if you're going down Gun Barrel from East Springer Road toward the Hamilton Place Mall, the hospital is obviously on the left. It's that group of the space that has a lot of the trees, the forest that has not been cleared on the Women's East side. So we will have frontage right there on Gun Barrel Road. It's a 15-year lease. The lease consists of the total amount is about $778,000 a year, and that equates to $16.05 per square foot, which is a wonderful price that we have been able to negotiate for that market out in that area. In that building, we will not be responsible for the fourth floor. That will be the developer's responsibility to fill that. But on the third floor, we'll have dermatology, GI, and plastics. On the second floor will be the breast center and the cancer center offices. On the first floor would be our cancer center, imaging, and the linear accelerator for radiation therapy. Keep in mind, we will be the first provider to provide this service out in that community, radiation therapy. So it gives access to those patients needing that therapy instead of driving downtown to the providers that provide that service to stay in their community for this. We have worked very diligently to get this completed. It'll take probably 15 to 18 months to complete, and we're very excited to bring this proposal to the board for approval. We went over the detailed plan at the Budget and Finance, and I'll be able to answer any questions that you might have tonight.
How's the timing of this work with the opening of the main campus out there? Does it
The main campus obviously opens in December.
Right.
So we wanted to sort of get one construction done for the other because obviously it does take up space. So we wanted to clear up some space to do this. Actually, it fits fairly well within our time because some of the departments, such as the imaging center, we currently have an imaging center out on the East Campus, but if you're aware of it, it's in the very back in a building that we do not, that is not on our land. And it's off the site. And so we believe that this will allow us time to move that forward and be on the Gun Barrel Road and have significant viewpoint from our patients and easy, extremely easy access. And then when you couple all these services that we're providing there, it really provides a one-stop shopping specifically for our cancer patients as well as our imaging patients.
questions? All right. We'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of approving Resolution 1602? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right. With that, the motion passes. Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
Brett.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Now we will hear from Mr. Woodard about amending and restating the bylaws.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the legal committee, you have in your packets a copy of the restated amendment to the bylaws and a restatement of the bylaws via Resolution 16-10-3. You will note in the revision, it was, I think, on page 17 of the bylaws, it was amendment to the Management Board Evaluation Committee of the board's obligations, and the revision coming out of the legal committee was to clarify that any revisions or any actions that would in effect amount to a revision or amendment to the present CEO's employment agreement would come back up to the full board for consideration. General items, employee benefits, general things that are the incentive compensation, those were expressly excluded. So the idea is that anything that would in effect amount to a bylaw or an amendment to the agreement would come back up to the full board. Gerald, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add to that, but that was the
No, I think
that's what came out of it.
yeah, we had a discussion about it in the legal committee and just thought that it would be best, at least in that one area, to create a situation where each board member would have the opportunity to weigh in on it, and I think that resolution resolves the issue that we had.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? And I apologize, I wasn't able to make it to the legal committee since I had a work obligation. But why the present CEO contract and not any CEO contract?
No, president.
It's in.
Sorry? The president and CEO, is that what you said?
Yes.
I thought you said
President.
present.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, not just.
And just to clarify, it's to give the board an opportunity to hear about it and weigh in on it, not to negotiate it.
Yes,
Perfect.
yeah.
Then I'm good with that.
No, that's exactly. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. At least it wasn't the. It's not the intent for the full board to enter into any type of negotiations. We believe that's best handled by a select few to do that. But at least it gives the entire board the opportunity to weigh in, to take a look at it before it's set in stone. And I think the board, at least we thought that the entire board would be best to take a look at it and at least be able to weigh in and give whatever thoughts they may have about it. But no, well, I don't think any of us intend on being involved in any negotiation of any of that.
Thanks for clarifying.
And I think it's worth saying that, although we did very recently revisit the bylaws, I think that, I think it was one of the two of you that very eloquently said it's a living and breathing document. And, we
You took it to heart.
we do. And
It was June, I think.
Yeah, I think that was June. So, I think this is a clarification that, thought has gone into, and I think the thoughts have been very good. And we should be the type of organization that can look at ourselves and adjust when we need to. So good for y'all for doing that.
I move that we approve resolutions 16-10-03.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Stand up here with you.
Is this his first time? Are you just helping?
No,
Oh.
we worked on this resolution.
Okay.
Right.
All difficult questions should be directed at Mr. Woodard.
Confident Dr. Jackson will handle it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. Per Article 15 of the medical staff bylaws, medical staff is required to review and revise the bylaws at least every 2 years. There's been an MEC subcommittee that's been looking at these bylaws since January of this year, and it would come to a full vote of the medical staff at the annual meeting on September 28th of this year. Same article mandates that we get the approval of the board to move down this process, and that's what's in front of you. I'm happy to answer questions on it.
So when is the vote of the full month?
28 November.
November.
Will, who's on the medical executive committee?
Well, the medical executive committee is the 4 officers that are elected, and then chiefs of the department, and then Mr. Spiegel and myself. The subcommittee, Mr. Smart, is a smaller group that consists of Dr. Kern, Dr. Sizemore, who is the president-elect, the current chiefs of medicine and surgery, representative from pediatrics, Pat Eller, who is in charge of the medical staff office, and myself.
we've all been essentially going through the nitty-gritty of line by line, looking at the bylaws and what needs to be modified or brought into compliance with current needs, and then we'll present that to the medical staff at large at the November meeting for an hour or so to sit down and see if anyone has any objections or critique about what we've come up with so far. But there were several areas that Dr. Jackson brought to our attention that needed modification, and it's been a kind of a line-by-line sort of a thing that we've gone through to get it to the point where we could present it to the medical staff, and we basically are needing the board's approval to go through the process of revising it. So that's what this is about.
The ultimate product will also come up to this board for full vote approval.
So it'll come back.
It will
Okay.
ultimately come back.
It is. If we find anything objectionable, I'll tell you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve.
Have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion will pass. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you both. As always, we have our informational items that we will not have reports on, but Mr. Tabor is available if there are questions. And now, Dr. Kern, do you have a medical staff report for us?
No report.
No report? All right. Dr. Four.
Yes, Dr. Bruce Stack will be joining us November 15th as our new dean of the University of Tennessee College of Medicine, Chattanooga. He will be attending the November board meeting, and shortly we will be planning a welcome reception for him, and we'll have the details out about that very soon. So we welcome Dr. Stack.
Thank you, Dr. Four. And Mr. Spiegel.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. First quarter financial results, we had a very strong first quarter. Net income from operations was $2.5 million compared to a budget of $688,000. Our admissions and overall environment continues to increase and grow, and that is a consistent trend that we're experiencing. Mr. Tabor talked a little bit about moving into Epic, and those expenses are going to increase in quarters 2, 3, and 4. So hopefully things go as planned, but I think those are very hard hurdles to go. But on the operations side, again, very, very strong. Becker's review came out. That is an attachment, should be in your place, looking something like this. And it is been published that Erlanger has placed in 8th largest emergency department in the nation. That's our volume, and that's what's really happening in our community, but we're the 8th largest emergency department in the nation. Ironman, also I just wanted to bring to your attention a letter from both mayors congratulating us on our participation in the Ironman. We actually got to treat, I think it was 611 patients. I was personally there most of the day in the medical tent, not running. It was unbelievable about the ballet of our both physicians and our event medicine staff led by Robbie Tester. Just a testament of the strength and the ability of this healthcare system for our community. Just an amazing operation. The amount of IVs that we did, you remember that day? It hit 97 degrees in Chattanooga. And people, the top 10 national runners, I think only 6 finished. So it was a very, very tough day and a lot of really sick patients. No one passed away this year, thank God. Erlanger East, $50 million project expansion is nearing completion. I'm going to be actually there tomorrow to do a walkthrough with Bruce and the team. The hospital will be a full-service community hospital with a lifestyle focus. The ribbon-cutting ceremony is scheduled for Wednesday, November 30th at 1:30 p.m. Please attend and please mark it on your calendar. We are excited about providing exceptional care in our new facility with hotel-like amenities that's not available in any other healthcare facility in this region. Erlanger East will be a hospital truly like no other. The Heart and Lung Institute, as you are aware, we recently added several physicians to our cardiovascular center of excellence. The most recent hire is Dr. Larry Shears. He joined our team on October 1st. He's our first cardiothoracic surgeon, and he is a robotic heart surgeon. And there is not a dedicated heart surgeon anywhere in our region. He has already performed many surgeries that have never been done in our region. Dr. Shears joins the team, Erlanger's most comprehensive cardiovascular program in our region. The groundbreaking ceremony for the Heart and Lung Institute is November 18th at 11 a.m. here in the Medical Mall. So please attend. The entire cardiovascular team will be there. The robot will be demonstrating on some of the minimally invasive procedures that we do that's not available anywhere else. This past Tennessee Hospital Association had its annual meeting. I do want to acknowledge Mr. Gerald Webb, who was there representing the board at the ceremonies. 4 of our executives were statewide recognized. Tanner Goodrich received the Young Healthcare Executive of the Year Award, and Stephanie Boynton received the Rural Healthcare Executive of the Year Award. And the Tennessee Hospital Association Awards, Liz Appling received the THA Award for Advancing Diversity throughout the state, and the Clinical Excellence Award was awarded to Dr. Jan Keys. So congratulations. Yeah, it was a really big day for Erlanger. November board meeting, remember, it is going to be, the next meeting is going to be held at Erlanger East. So it will not be held here. What's the date?
November 17th.
November 17th.
And also remember where that hospital is, there's a lot of traffic this time of day.
Yeah.
So,
And as you
those of
go-
you coming from downtown.
Yeah. So I would leave plenty of time, and just so everybody's aware, everybody here, we will be at Erlanger East. Mr. Chairman, that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Spiegel. I had a note on here to remind everyone about the meeting in November being out at East as well, so I'm going to say it again.
Yes.
And Kitty, it is at 5 p.m. It's at 5 instead of 5:30. We'll be out there. And will there be a tour of the facilities afterwards? So all of us can go see that. If you can, stay around. Probably similar to the orthopedic tour we took a few months ago. So thank you for that. Also, everybody else, we do have some credentialing to do upstairs, right, Dr. Kern?
Yes, sir.
So we'll be moving upstairs for that. But other than that, you all know when your committees are meeting and when the next board meeting is. So with that, we are adjourned for the night.